Hey witches, welcome to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy, a magical living podcast for the busy witch. I'm Morgan, eclectic witch of almost 25 years, Avalon priestess, and busy witch. Here we'll talk all things witchy, from current metaphysical happenings to my busy witch tips and tricks, and everything in the in-between. This podcast is my personal journey, filled with my knowledge, opinions, and unique way of looking at the world. Join me as I weave the magical and the mundane in every episode. Hey witches, welcome back to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy. I'm Morgan, and today I'm talking about Maiden, Mother, Queen, Crone. Yes, this is a subject I have been simmering on for a while for the podcast. I think I've wanted to do it for probably years, but just every week something else would come up, you know? But within the last week of my life, I have had callbacks to the Queen archetype or Queen energy in a woman's life or in a spiritual woman's life. So I was like, you know what? This is what we're going to talk about this week. Okay. So the first callback was actually during, I believe it was my Patreon bonus content from last week. I was giving them my routine, my morning routine, which I feel like had really helped me open up psychically. And I think it was in that. I did not go back to check before recording because why? That would be very grounded of me, and I don't have a lot of that. Anyway, I did not go back and check, but I think that's when I was saying something about I'm in my queen phase of the Maiden, Mother, Queen, Crone archetype. Or phases of a woman's life from a spiritual standpoint. So that was the first one. And then this morning, oh my gosh, I meditate every morning. And this morning I had the absolute most powerful meditation that I've had in a very long time. And in this meditation, one of my goddesses, Rhiannon, who is for me, the goddess of sovereignty. She's really been, she's been with me from the beginning. She is the first goddess that I ever started working with. But she has definitely been for me, a way for me to tap into my power. That's what she's helped me with, and my sovereignty. And she had an amazing talk with me in a meditation this morning. We talked about my crown. We talked about the queen, archetype or phase of my life. And it was so powerful that in the meditation, she told me to do something in the physical world to show that the work we had done in the meditation was, reflecting in my reality. And so I did the thing she told me to do in my physical world, and it worked right then. Had never worked before in my life. It was the craziest thing ever. So that was really this morning. It was after that meditation, I went and got in the shower, and I was like, okay, I need to record a podcast today, tomorrow, next day, somewhere in there. So what can I talk about? And this was it. And this dropped in. And I was like, oh my God, yes, it is finally time, because I love talking about the queen archetype or the queen divine feminine phase. And it helps. I taught about this in 2021. There is, if you're an Ink Spirit member, Ink Spirit Coven member, go back to the archives of 2021. And I'm going to try, I will at least, we just moved over to the Circle community platform within the last month, or I think we've been on Circle or I started Circle a month ago. So I'm still working on the distant archives, but I will at least get the Queen lesson coded for you all, or up in the Circle archives. I think it was June, July of 2021, somewhere in there, because I love talking about this so much. And it was after I taught that whole lesson about the Queen spiritual archetype that I had so many of the members that were like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize it. I'm in my Queen phase. And just telling women that it's so empowering. So what I'm going to be talking about today is a spiritual archetype. Okay. And hold on. Sorry, that was my notebook. I always start, I keep the thing on 2 pages, the episode on 2 pages. And I always start with the notebook out and I'm like, oh, I love it all displayed in front of me. And then when I actually, every week I get in here and I start to record and I'm like, please just show me one page and then we'll go to the other. Okay. So that's just all kinds of fun noises for those who are just listening. So today's podcast episode, I'm going to be talking about spiritual archetypes. Okay. They are slightly different than psychological archetypes. Okay. Psychological archetypes describe different phases of your life or different energies you can embody in life and as milestones in life. Okay. But we're talking about spiritual archetypes. I will explain that there is 100% a crossover. But just keep in mind that today what we're talking is spiritually paganism, like all that kind of good stuff. Okay. So in paganism, the divine feminine is seen in 3 phases. Okay. And that is Maiden, Mother, Crone. If you've ever heard of the triple goddess, this is what the triple goddess is. Maiden, Mother, Crone. Okay. Some goddesses are triple goddesses, which means they represent all 3 aspects. Okay. Bridget is one of them. She can represent Maiden, Mother, and Crone. Hecate, I believe, is another one. Maiden, Mother, and Crone. Okay. But the maiden aspect of the goddess or of the triple goddess is young, of course. She represents new beginnings, youth, curiosity, and indulging in pleasures, but indulging in pleasures from a curious standpoint. Like, what does this taste like? What does this feel like? How do I feel when I'm doing this? That type of indulging in pleasures, but from a curiosity standpoint. Like she's never experienced this before, so she wants to experience everything she possibly can. Okay. So then you have the mother aspect. And if you are also, I believe it is a Wiccan thing, but a pagan Wheel of the Year thing, if you follow the trajectory of the Wheel of the Year as far as divine feminine, divine masculine energy, the maiden is springtime into summer. And that's the aspect of the goddess that is dealing with exploration, her sexuality, all of that. Okay, so then we move into the mother phase. Mother phase of the triple goddess represents fertility, patience, birthing ideas into the world, very nurturing, very grounding. Okay, so of the Wheel of the Year, this is where it gets real fun. So the mother aspect really goes like end of summer to Yule. Okay. And Yule is where she gives birth to the god. Okay. But she gets pregnant at Beltane, which is a fire festival, which is the one we just had. Okay. So that's still the spring, still in the maiden aspect of that. But so the mothering aspect really comes in when her belly really starts to get full. And so we're talking like end of summer, beginning of harvest season and into Yule. Okay. So mostly the fall. And then, we have the crone so I did go over her, yes. Okay. I went over her energies. Then it's the crone. So after in the Wheel of the Year, after the mother gives birth, she goes into crone like immediately. It's so fucking weird. So the crone time of year is winter. The crone is associated with wisdom, contentment, lessons learned, acceptance of aging, endings, and death. Okay, so that's why we do a lot of shadow working in the winter, is because we're retreating into ourselves. We're in that crone aspect of the Wheel of the Year. And it's all about death and rebirth and all of that kind of good stuff. Okay. And then for the Wheel of the Year, the crone gives way back to the maiden come like Imbolc, which is Imbolc into Ostara. I would really say Ostara is when the maiden really comes out. Okay. So there are deities or goddesses that often fall into these 3 categories, although many of them overlap. Okay. So for example, maiden goddesses are often the virgin goddesses. So Artemis and Diana, and then there's Blodwydd and Persephone in her aspect when she's here on Earth. Okay, when Persephone is here on Earth, she is of the maiden aspect. All right. And this is where I said some of them will embody more than one aspect. Okay. Mother goddesses include Gaia, Danu, Selene, and Demeter, but I've always said it's Demeter, but I actually heard it in a movie last weekend, and they said, it was a movie or a TV show, and they said Demeter. And I was like, I don't know about that. Anyway, it's Persephone's mom. Yeah, so that, again, mother aspect. And then you have crone aspects, which are Hecate, but again, Hecate can be she's a triple goddess as well. The Morrigan, the Morrigan is often seen as three different goddesses into one. And so, yes, one of her aspects is definitely a crone. I don't know that I've ever really associated the Morrigan, like if you take all three of her aspects, shove them together into the Morrigan, I don't really know I don't know. That's one I have to argue with. Baba Yaga, and then Caradwyn is a mother, but also a crone. And then, excuse my pronunciation because my Irish is non-existent, the Cailleach, and I think there's just that phlegm at the end, but Cailleach or Cailleach. Yeah, there's just that. Anyway, she's like the old crone goddess of winter. Okay. So I've always had, the Morrigan I've always had a problem with. Like, I worked with her for a very long time, and one of her aspects, yes, I could see is crone. But you have so many goddesses that are out there that are either childless, they're not maidens, they're powerful, strong, older women without children who are not crones. And then, so if you're thinking about that from a goddess perspective or a spirituality perspective, there's a big hole there in between mother and crone. And then if you're looking at it from, divine feminine energy aspect and women and female empowerment and female embodiment, there's a huge hole there too. Like there's maidens, that's when you're young and then you're in your 20s. And then if you have kids, or if you don't have kids and you're birthing ideas, like you're birthing your career into the world, and you're establishing your career, or, even if you decide to not have children, or the people that do have children. So then you have there's 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, depending on how many kids you have, of where you're raising children one after the other, until they turn 18 and then, or turn however old and then go off into the world themselves. And then we're just supposed to go to old? Fuck that. I'm 44 years old. Okay. My children are 23 and almost 21. I'm still their mother. Yes, I am still their mother. But do I take care of them every single day like I did when they were toddlers? I do not. Okay. Do I still have aspects of a mom? I sure do. But, okay, I also know that my children are in their 20s. So if they do something stupid, I can look at them and say, that was real dumb. Okay. You shouldn't have done that. Instead of, teaching and nurturing, sometimes they need to just be told that was really stupid. Don't ever do that again, And if they come to me, I can talk to my daughter as a woman now, I don't have to talk to her as mother-daughter. I nurture my children. Of course, they come to me, they need help. I'm here to help them. I have compassion. I have all of that, but sometimes also I am their friend, they're in their 20s. So I'm not a crone. There's so many women out there that are just like me. Their kids are grown. And yeah, I may have some gray hairs that I religiously cover up every 6 weeks with bright red dye. Okay. I'm not a fucking crone. Don't call me a crone. Don't try to put me in there, because I'm not. So where does that leave me? Where does that leave goddesses like Rhiannon and Athena? Where does that leave Lilith? Where does that leave 40 to 50-year-old women who are not old crones, not ready to just give up and die and be, the old lady that lives in the cottage, not in a hedge witchy way, because that's fucking fabulous. If you live in the cottage and you're reading tarot cards and you're eating mushrooms and you're talking to the fae, and, you know, people come to you for not only a magical potion to do whatever, but they're also coming to you to have their cards read. That's beautiful. Not necessarily crone. But like the Baba Yaga living in her chicken hut, you know, teaching people about death, I'm good. I'm not there yet, okay? So there are psychological archetypes, many of them that have to deal with the phases that women go through, okay? Some of them include queen, mystic, sage, lover, huntress. That one's fun. So these aspects of women describe more of a psychological approach to how you embody energy or how you embody the different stages of your life, okay? The queen has slowly been sliding from psychological archetype into spiritual archetype, and I love it and I'm here for it, okay? Because of all of the psychological archetypes that I have read and all of the different aspects that women can go through, queen to me is the one that fits beautifully into maiden, mother, blank spot, crone, you know, maiden, mother, queen, crone. Okay. So queen energy is unapologetic. She is strong. She is loyal and she demands loyalty. Okay. She ain't got shit. She ain't got shit. She doesn't have time in her life for shit, for petty shit, for disloyal people, for fake people, none of that. Okay. She's going to be loyal to you, but she demands that you are loyal to her as well. Okay. Sovereignty, which is just owning your personal power. Compassion. She is compassionate. She is all about empowerment. She has grace. She takes responsibility for her actions and therefore is accountable. She is definitely an inspiration. She's always inspired daily, but she inspires others as well. She is authentic. Okay. She does not take bullshit from anyone or herself. And she definitely has confidence. Okay. So this is the queen energy. And I'm going to go here in a second of how to establish or how to increase that queen energy in your life. But also a little bit into more details. But this is why, for me, when I was reading all of the different life stages that a woman goes through, or all of the different archetypes, the different aspects that women go through, this one fit. And so I took it, and let me tell you, I was first introduced to it by an older business coach of mine, and I sat on it for probably years. And really just like let it simmer, you know, like maiden, mother, queen, crone. And the more that I began to embody this queen energy, the more I wanted to talk about it and the more I wanted to shout it from the rooftops, because I had felt left out. I was like, maiden, mother, crone, I'm not there yet. And you know, especially as my children got older, you know, my daughter graduated high school, my son graduated high school, you know, my daughter moved away. Like, I'm not a crone. Please do not set me in a rocking chair and, you know, make me stop dyeing my hair and just start whittling away and you know, crocheting and just talking nonsense, but they're really, you know, words of wisdom that I'm channeling from ancestors. Like, please, I'm not ready for that. So I love talking about this so much. I find it very empowering, especially, like I said, once I talked about it in Ink Spirit and taught a lesson about it, there were so many other members that were like, that's me. And I'm like, I know. And so many women don't know about this. And I love that it is starting to go out more to where it is being put. And I know it's a triple goddess and this would make it a quadruple goddess. I get that. But if you're looking at just the aspects from a spiritual standpoint of goddesses and what roles they play, what energy they embody, there's still a hole even there. There's maiden, mother, crone, but there is a gap. Okay. So fit queen in there. If you want to go more psychological, by all means, do your research on the different archetypes for feminine as far as psychological archetypes. And then maybe there's another one, like maybe you are a huntress right now. Maybe you're in your lover stage. Who knows? But that queen, it is life-changing. Once you embody that, once you realize that that's the stage you're in, and then you're like, fuck this, I'm going to have fun. It is so empowering. Okay. So more about the queen. She is in charge of her life. Okay. No one tells her what to do. If someone tells her what to do, okay, then she's making the choice to do it. Okay. She's not blindly obeying anymore. Okay. The queen has been there. She has done that. She has learned the lessons, but she's not ready to just keel over and die yet. She still has so much to give. Give herself, give the people around her, give the world. Okay. She surrounds herself with authentic people who support her. Okay. She is at her peak of authenticity. She is unapologetic. She will tell you what is on her mind. She will do it with grace sometimes if you've earned it. But it is because of this. It is because she is at her peak of authenticity. She only wants to surround herself with people who are as equally authentic as her. She doesn't want to read between the lines. She's going to shoot it straight forward to you. So she expects it to be shot straight forward to her back. And that is what she respects. Okay. She is confident. This again, she's been there. She's done that. She's learned the lessons. She knows who she is. Okay. She floundered for a while. Hell, she could have floundered a year ago, but everything that she has gone through, she has learned the lesson from, and she has figured out more about herself than she ever has before. And with all of that comes power. With all of that comes confidence. With all of that comes sovereignty. Okay. She sets boundaries. This is a big one. Again, she will not put up with bullshit. So if you are handing her bullshit, she will cut you out. Okay. Boundaries are for protection for her, but they're out of respect. She is going to set a boundary and expects you to respect it. If you do not respect her boundaries, then she knows you are not her people and she will get rid of you. Okay. She wants an equal partner, someone she doesn't have to mother. Okay. So a lot of us women, we fall in love and we marry the disaster, the work in progress. We see the potential there, and we want to nurture them. We want to help them. And if they grow, that's great. And if you started out not marrying that, then you're amazing. Okay. Look, I got married at 18. Colin was 20 years old. Neither one of us knew who the fuck we were or what we wanted out of life. So it's led to major ups and downs. We were separated for 3 years, lived on different sides of the United States. We had a lot of lessons to learn individually before we could come back together. But once we did come back together, we grew together. We grew and evolved together. And that's one of the beautiful things of you growing old with someone, but of both of us reaching a queen and king archetype and stage of our life together is, I grew and I embodied the queen energy. Colin as well embodied that king energy. So we are equal. We are partners. Okay. A queen will find it very hard to move forward with a partner that she's still mothering, having to tell what to do, when to do it, take care of all of that. She will just struggle really hard with that. Okay. A queen indulges in the pleasures of life, but this is where it's different from the maiden. The maiden is indulging in pleasures in life out of curiosity. I have not experienced this before. What is it like to experience this? That's the maiden's viewpoint. The queen has done it. She's probably done it like 4 or 5 times at least. And she is indulging in the pleasures of life because she's earned it, because they make her feel good, because she put in the hard work and now it's time for her to pamper the shit out of herself. Okay. So there's a difference in the energy of indulging in the pleasures of life. The queen has earned them. And she may even go back to some of the pleasures of when she was a maiden. Like, oh, I remember when I was younger, I used to do this all the time and I loved it. I'm going to do that now all the time. Whereas when you're a mother, there are aspects of your younger life where you're like, we're just going to put those to sleep right now while I'm a mom. And then once my kids are grown, I can do that again, And even if it's just something little, like walking around the house naked, or sleeping naked. These are little things you did when you were younger. You probably didn't do it when you had the kids running in and out of your bedroom, just all crazy like. But now that the kids are grown and moved out, maybe you're gonna sleep naked again. You've done it because you earned it. That's the energy of the queen. She's like, I love sleeping naked. So that's exactly what I'm going to do because I've earned it. I've been through all of this. Okay. And again, even if you went through the mother phase, did not have children, maybe you birthed a career. Maybe you started out going to college and, earning your degrees and everything. And now you are a fucking powerful lawyer. You know what I mean? Or you are a teacher and you teach other people's kids. You never had kids of your own. You have other people's kids that you teach all day long. And then at the end of the day, you send them on their way back home and you're just at that stage where you're like, I'm a queen. So you don't have to actually have children to have gone through the mothering stage, okay? You're birthing ideas in the world. You're birthing careers. You're you're helping other people, birth their ideas, birth their children, all of that. All of that falls under mothering, okay? So that's the energy of the queen in a nutshell. Okay. Queen goddesses can include Athena, Hera, Lilith. I really see Morgan, and then for me, Morgan Le Fay as queen goddesses. Again, if you are a follower of the Morgan, it's up to you how you interpret whether she's three goddesses in one, whether she's one goddess, whether she's a crone, whether she's a queen, up to you. For me, Rhiannon, very much a queen. I understand that Rhiannon had a child, and that is actually one of her key stories into how she became as powerful and as sovereign as she did, has to deal with her child. But for me, Rhiannon means sovereignty, and she has always been there to help me regain my personal power. Okay. And then Persephone went in her aspect of when she is queen of the underworld. So when Persephone goes down into the underworld for half of the year, and reigns as queen, she's a queen there. And then when she comes back up into the world to spend the time with her mother for half a year, she's more of a maiden there. Okay. These are by far not like, Isis is also another one, who she is a queen because she's married to Osiris, but she is a mother goddess, is like mother of all type thing. So there are goddesses that definitely fall into the mother category, fall into like, Caradwyn is considered a crone goddess, but again, she has a story that makes up a huge part of who she is, where she's creating this elixir of truth or elixir of life for her son. So she is also a mother goddess, but she's also seen as like the old hag or over the cauldron, So there are some overlap, but I think especially with goddesses like Lilith, there's absolutely no arguing that Lilith is a queen goddess, Athena did not have any children, I don't believe. So like, where does she fall in the whole, maiden mother crone type thing? Okay. So increasing queen energy in your life. And this is the last part I have for you all today. You can establish a routine and stick to it. Routine equals self-care, which equals pampering, but it also equals accountability. You're being disciplined in your routine. You're sticking to it. You're taking responsibility for your actions, but you're holding yourself accountable to that queen level that you want to be at. Okay. You're setting boundaries. Yeah. Especially with shitty people that are not authentic with you. You are building on your communication skills. So a queen is compassionate. she listens to people before she helps them. You know, she listens to them before so she can figure out what role she is to play in their life, you know? So you have to build your communication skills in order to really sit beautifully in that queen archetype, okay? Pamper yourself. You worked hard for it. Pamper yourself. Take responsibility for your actions. Don't shirk them off. Don't point the finger. If you did it, you did it. Fucking claim it, okay? Surround yourself with real, authentic, supportive people who want your highest good. You also have to want their highest good too. Otherwise, you're manipulating. Okay. And that is not an aspect of the queen. She does everything. She wants everyone around her to be equals or to see eye to eye with her. Manipulation is not part of that. Okay. And then exercise compassion. Everybody is coming from a different walk of life. Everyone's coming from a different road. So you have to exercise compassion when you're listening and when you're communicating with them. Okay. So these are just different ways to increase the queen energy in your life. Yay. Okay. So that's what I have for you all today as a nutshell. I just wanted to talk about queen energy, how it played a role in my life, how it is playing a role in my life, give you some pointers on how to increase the queen energy in your life. But if nothing else, just educate you about this queen archetype, because I have a feeling a lot of you listeners out there are in this archetype and you didn't quite feel like the mothering aspect anymore. You didn't quite feel like the crone, and you're like, where am I? And hopefully now you're like, this is it. This is me. Because once you can claim that for yourself, it is so empowering. It is so beautiful to reclaim your power and your sovereignty and know your worth. And that's all part of the queen archetype. It's beautiful. So my Patreon bonus content for this episode will be magical helpers for embracing the queen archetype. So gemstones, oils, things like that. That's what I'm going to go on in my Patreon bonus content. So with a paid Patreon membership, and the bottom tier is $5 a month, you get access to bonus content for every podcast episode, as well as a shout out on my podcast. So I want to thank Bobby Ann for being a new paid Patreon member. Thank you so much. You can there's 3 different tiers that get you 3 different levels of things. It's all laid out at patreon.com/inkedgoddesscreations. If you are an Ink Spirit Coven member, then you can head to the archives to get the complete lesson for this, as well as the Book of Shadow pages. If you are not a Coven member and you vibe with me, like my vibe, what I'm teaching, the way I teach is vibing with you, then the Ink Spirit Coven is full of people just like me. We're feral witches, we're eclectic witches, we're magical misfits, all of that. I have just redone the landing page to really truly encompass the Ink Spirit Coven energy. And to let you all know, we are now off of Facebook. No prying eyes of Meta, no ads, no algorithms to fight with, nothing. We have our own space on Circle, which is a community platform. Circle has an app, a mobile, and a desktop version. So no matter how you decide to connect with the Coven, you can connect with us, and everything is in there. Our community chat is in there. Our event calendar, our lesson archives are all in there. It's all in one place. And let me tell you, since switching from Facebook, a Facebook group, to the community, the Circle community platform, members have been so happy. It's very easy to learn, and I have personally watched engagement go through the roof. They are sharing more. They are commenting on each other's posts more. They are supporting one another more. And I'm going to get emotional because it took me a while. I fought switching over to a new platform. I fought it for a while. And then finally the universe took over and tanked all of our entire lesson archives on the website, tanked it all. So I had no choice but to move everything over. And it has been so beautiful just seeing these beautiful members support each other and ask questions and share crazy shit that's happening. It's beautiful. So I'm going to stop the pitch there. It is inkedspirit.com to learn more. And like I said, I just redesigned the landing page. Oh, it makes me so happy. But yes, go there. Please join us. I think you will love it. But yeah, that's what I have for you all today. I want to thank you for being here, for being a listener, for giving me a platform to share my knowledge, share what I'm passionate about. Please like, share, subscribe, rate, all of that good stuff, because it helps the algorithm, especially on like Spotify, throw my podcast out to more people. And if you do listen on Spotify or anything and you want to see all the crazy hand gestures and facial movements, facial expressions and everything I do, you can head to YouTube and watch the episode every week. So thank you all for being here, and I will see you all next week. Bye. If you're looking for a magical community where you can just be yourself, check out my Ink Spirit Coven. The Coven is an online learning circle for eclectic witches who want to learn new witchcraft practices and how to easily incorporate magic into their daily lives, all while being supported on their personal spiritual journey. And you'll have me as your magical mentor, sharing my knowledge, answering questions, and facilitating the online community. Head to inkspirit.com to learn more and join. And if unique witchcraft supplies made by witches for witches is just what you need, head to my store, inkgoddesscreations.com, to see what we have to enhance your magical practice. We also have the Ink Goddess Creations box, a monthly subscription of magic mail filled with exclusive items that fit a magical theme. Head to the site to see this month's theme and sneak peeks.